Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Where'd you get that mistletoe? It's July!
And we're giving away a bunch of gifts to you, the audience.
As a sign of our appreciation and need for constant validation.
So head on over to our Patreon page.
Because every Monday in July, we're going to be posting exclusive content.
For free!
What are we giving away this week, Mariya?
This week, we're revealing a new monthly podcast.
If you want to know what we have in store for the future, head on over to the Patreon.
We'll see you over at patreon.com/chaoticsilly.
So go check it out right now.
For free!
I'm gonna take this Santa suit off now, Mariya. It's so freaking hot.
Why are you wearing a Santa suit for an audio-only podcast?
I commit, damn it. Now help me get the beard off.
Merry Christmas in July.
Whew. It is freezing out here, isn't it, Mariya?
What?
Yes, it's Christmas, Mariya. You know, the time of year when it's cold out, Santa Claus comes around, everybody has so much cheer.
I could literally hear your fan like 2 seconds ago, James.
No.
Yep.
No.
You just told me that you're melting.
I'm not. This is ice.
Uh-huh.
This isn't sweat, it's ice.
Uh-huh.
Just oh god, it's so hot. Why am I wearing this Santa Claus outfit? It's freaking July. It's a million degrees out. Mariya, this was a mistake. I'm sorry.
It's Christmas in July.
It's Christmas in July. That means we watch stuff that is good?
Decent?
Question mark. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out later.
Yeah. It's Christmas in July, which means we watch stuff not related to Christmas.
But good stuff.
Yes, we give ourselves a present of goodness and cheer. Except for in 2 weeks when we watch the Timon and Pumbaa show. I don't know how that's going to be.
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
But that also means that you guys get free stuff.
Yes. We'll talk about
AKA
that.
the two of us talking for longer and more. So, you know.
Exactly.
That could either be the coal in your stockings or the gift in your stockings. And that is all up to you.
What she said. But this is Hell in a Cell, an animation podcast where we watch an episode or episodes of a cartoon and then talk about it. Because, well, what else are we going to do?
Because we like to.
That's not true.
I like to.
Oh, good for you. This episode we watched Spongebob Squarepants. Woo! SpongeBob, Season 1, Episode 5. Original release date, August 14th, 1999. We're still in the 90s. Get back. I'm putting my cap on backwards like a rebel. And I'm gonna beatbox it in the streets, y'all. Yeah.
No.
I know. I just want to be cool. This is after the point where you could be cool by just wearing, like, ripped flannel and acid wash jeans.
Why would you wear ripped flannel?
That was the style in the early 90s. Grunge.
I was a 2-year-old.
You weren't even that. You weren't alive in the early 90s.
Well, 1999. I was a year old.
Right. I'm talking... Never mind. SpongeBob Squarepants, created by Rip in Peace. Let's have a little moment of silence for Steven Hillenburg, who unfortunately passed away last year, as of the time of this recording.
2018 be dropping bodies, man.
Yeah, 2018 dropped bodies from complications from ALS. Yeah. So, moment of silence, Mariya. Okay. He would want us to
wondering.
carry on.
I mean, yes. Okay.
Anyway, he is, where was I? Oh, yeah. We watched Pizza Delivery. Storyboard director Sherm Cohen. Storyboard artist Aaron Springer. Written by Sherm Cohen, Aaron Springer, and Peter Burns. Animation director Sean Dempsey. And creative director Derek Dryman. And we also watched Home Sweet Pineapple. Storyboard director Ennio Torrenson Jr. Storyboard artist Eric Weiss. Writer Ennio Torrenson Jr., Eric Weiss, and Doug Lawrence. Animation director Tom Yasumi. Creative director Derek Dryman. All right, Mariya. What happened?
Okay, so for Pizza Delivery, they're at the Krusty Krabs, and I think it's close. Yeah, it's closing time, and SpongeBob is cleaning the tables, and Squidward gets a call on the phone, and it's someone who wants pizza. And Mr. Krabs walks by and says that Squidward will deliver the pizza, even though they don't actually make pizzas. So, and Mr. Krabs tells Squidward to take SpongeBob with him. And Squidward, being a lazy bum, decides that he does not want to drive, and he wants SpongeBob to drive. And SpongeBob doesn't know how to drive properly. So he backs out and keeps backing till they're out of gas. And then Squidward kicks the vehicle. And, kicks the boat. And it starts up again and drives away without them. So they have to walk back to the city. And SpongeBob keeps using pioneer techniques to get them back to the city. And Squidward doesn't listen until he finally sits on a boulder. And Squidward is like, this is not how boulders work. But Boulders was like, nah, I do what I want. And the boulder took them back to the city. This is very confusing. How high were these people when they were writing this? The second one, Home Sweet Pineapple. There's a bunch of, what were those things, James?
Oh, nematodes.
The worm thing? Nematodes. Yes, there's a bunch of nematodes that kept eating stuff up, and they got thirsty, and so they drank SpongeBob's house because it's a pineapple, apparently.
Yep.
Even though it's like hollow, but yeah. Yep. So they drank SpongeBob's house. Yep. And SpongeBob was left with only a pebble, and Squidward was really happy because SpongeBob would have to leave. So Patrick tried to share his boulder with SpongeBob, but SpongeBob had a terrible night because Patrick snores, drools, and has nightmares in which he smashes the rock on the ground, more specifically on SpongeBob. And so the next day his parents come to pick him up, and so he gets all emotional and he buries the pebble in the place where his house used to be, and he cries onto the pebble or onto the ground, and then the ground soaks it up, and the pebble is magical, and it grows like a big beanstalk, a big plant that pops out SpongeBob's house on top of Squidward. And SpongeBob moves back.
Yay.
The end.
Alright. Where to begin with this? Mariya?
They haven't changed their theme song in forever.
Since 1999, they haven't changed their damn theme song.
Yep.
I mean, it's a good theme song.
I like it. I wouldn't change it.
Yes,
Everyone loves it.
I do. I did learn from the we watched this on Amazon, the Amazon X-ray, that the pirate's name is Painty the Pirate.
Yes, it's Painty the Pirate, which does not surprise me.
That's a thing. Yeah, it's a good theme song.
It does not surprise me, Painty the Pirate. Lol.
Yes. But what else do we say? Like, it's SpongeBob. It's like one of the gold standards for like entertainment.
It is, and you would be surprised and disappointed. I didn't watch this growing up.
Really?
Nope.
Huh.
It would very rarely air on Nickelodeon back in India. And Nickelodeon was very overridden with other Japanese shows. Or like
what?
Chinese shows. It was very weird. So we would get a lot of... I don't even know why. I think it's probably ratings because other kids would watch those. But we would get a lot of other stuff on Nickelodeon and not... We rarely got SpongeBob.
Huh.
Or the timings that SpongeBob would air would be very late in the night or very early in the morning or in the daytime.
Huh.
So we very rarely got SpongeBob. It was very weird. I knew it existed, and I watched parts of it every now and again when it would show up, and I loved it whenever it did, but it didn't air as much as I would have liked it to.
Okay.
But I know it's very, like, whatever I know of SpongeBob is from watching a few episodes, and also the general populace of America just loves SpongeBob, so it's everywhere. So I know SpongeBob from pop culture more than actually from watching the show.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you telling me that the Shin-Chan would air over there.
A lot. I freaking hated that show so much. I hated that. Well, mostly because it like the target, although the target demographic of Shin-Chan is more like tweens, a lot of younger kids would watch it and then behave that way.
Oh god.
And it was very annoying.
Kids should not be
So yeah,
acting
there's
like
a lot of
Shin-Chan.
yeah. So Nickelodeon didn't particularly carry or cater with the American program. We got a very different program.
Okay. I'm sure that's changed now.
I don't know. I haven't actually looked at like cartoon channels in a very long time.
Same.
And it's very typical of them to like whatever's most popular, they'll just play that the whole day and nothing else, and it's annoying.
Yep.
So, but I love SpongeBob, and he's a general mood. His gifts are amazing.
The amount of gifts that SpongeBob have given us is
yeah,
it's a
very gifable show. But I noticed that, James, all the designs for the eyes for all the characters are different.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's very cool.
It's interesting. SpongeBob got like the big rounded eyes, blue pupils, long eyelashes. Squidward has those weird egg-shaped eyes with the red and yellow, or Yeah.
And it's accurate for because squids have like squarish pupils.
Right. Well, Steven Hillenburg was a marine biologist. So,
Yes. Yeah. That's also why Squidward's stupid. It's because starfish don't have brains.
You said Squidward.
Patrick. Patrick is stupid. Because
go.
starfish don't have brains.
Mm-hmm. I don't know where a squirrel fits into that, but, you know. Yeah. This is definitely from the era of kids' cartoons where the absurdity, it's a lot more absurdist. It's following in the veins of like, I don't know where like the originators were, but like the big popular one was Ren and Stimpy, with its very like absurdist screwball meets Dada-esque comedy.
Right.
Where, you know, anything can happen because there's no rules to follow.
Right.
And that's what that's why a lot of these cartoons have lasted for a while, is because that the freedom to do
weird.
What's that?
They're weird.
Yeah, they're weird, but they also have a lot of freedom in what they can do because they don't follow standard story structure.
Mm-hmm. Right. They're not following stories or anything. That's true. They don't have like a plot line that they're going towards.
Right.
Which is, I guess, something that you want, right? For a kid's cartoon show, like watch it once, enjoy it while it's happening, rather than waiting for the next and the next and the next and so on and so forth. Because a lot of TV shows will do that because they want you to come back. So they'll make it as a gripping storyline or whatever. SpongeBob doesn't have to do that. People will come back anyway.
Right. Well, it's the big, like, divide now, I guess, because we're in the streaming era.
Right.
And so having those long plot lines, if you're binge watching something, the long plot lines keep you engaged.
Right.
But if you're just watching something on television, which fewer and fewer people are doing now, the single episode format is what you want to go for maximum popularity.
Right. I mean, I guess for kids, I suppose. And I know that a lot of kids nowadays spend a lot more time on YouTube. Rather than sitting in front of a TV. But I don't have any evidence to back that up. But I mean, the whole point of like TV is to keep you watching for as long as possible, so they can get in those ads and make the money that they want to make. So having like a bunch of SpongeBob episodes, one after the other, would keep people sitting there. You know. Yep. But the animation, like the background style, is very different than most that we've seen. Like it follows the same absurdity, I suppose.
Right. Yeah, the backgrounds hand painted. We're still in cell, so.
Yeah. But every now and again they will have like frames of like single highly detailed shots.
Yeah, that's definitely an influence from Steven Hillenburg's time, probably working at Rocco on Rocco's Modern Life, which also was influenced by Ren and Stimpy, which did that. That was like their signature joke, is to have the single frame, which is highly detailed. Right.
It was very, very cool. And I like those because there was one, the single shot of SpongeBob's hand with the pebble in it.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure that was done like that's not paint. I'm pretty sure that's not paint.
Really?
I'm like very sure. It doesn't, the texture, it feels like it's probably like oil pastels or crayon or something like that. Like I'm very sure that's not paint. The texture does not feel very paint-like.
Huh. Interesting.
But I mean, like, I'm quite sure it's not paint. Just because of the texture. That's just because of the texture of it. Paint doesn't usually apply that way. The texture is very smooth. But with crayon, if it's on paper, you can see the texture of the paper, and you could see the texture in that one shot. Even like the I mean, I suppose the flowers are probably paint. The weird flowers in the background.
Yeah, probably.
The like beachy flowers, hibiscus. I don't know.
The what?
Yeah, the flowers in the background. I don't know. Hibiscus. Right. I don't know what flowers they are. They're just beach flowers. But they're cool. They're very different. And again, not quite following any rules. So it doesn't feel out of place. Mm-hmm. It has a nice... And I suppose it's easier to make those too, right? As compared to full detailed backgrounds. Just have like... Because I know there were a few shots where it was just blue and those flowers in the background.
Yeah.
And then the characters in frame.
Yeah, I think mostly it's just like rocks and flowers and then the blue for the water.
Yeah.
So if you have that, you can just tell your background artist, just make a bunch of rocks, put a few flowers on there, and the rest is blue.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the sand is probably a texture that they have.
Probably.
I don't know if the water background is a texture or not. It might just be a texture that they had to use. Because they did have, like, computers at the time, I think. I don't know if they were using them. Right. But...
They could be.
I'm sure they could have put a texture somewhere, or at least, like, printed out a texture for it. Mm-hmm. Something like that. Anyway. But that's interesting, like, I mean, if you're going to have, like, that one detailed frame of animation, I guess, you know, you might as well use something else besides paint for it.
Yeah. I mean, because it's not animated, right? It's a still shot. So when Squidward opens his eyes and there's like a like that's a still shot, so you can do whatever you want on it, right? It can.
I mean, most of it was still. You had the eyes opening for animation.
Yeah, you had the eyes open, but then I'm pretty sure that one frame was still.
Yes, the one with his bloodshot eyes.
Yeah. And then that one where he's like holding the pebble in his hand, that's a still shot. So I guess you could do whatever you want, use whatever medium you want, and it doesn't quite matter.
No.
Yeah. Which is really cool. Like, I like those still shots. Those are nice.
Yeah. This is definitely the point where mixed media is becoming more popular. I don't know if, like, The Simpsons had done its 3D episode yet at the time.
Right.
It's a mix of 3D and 2D. Anyway. Not important. What is important, though, is that I was browsing the Wikia. Not the Wiki, the Wikia.
Okay.
Of the pizza delivery episode. As we were watching it, just to get some information that might have been interesting. And I was looking at errors. And one of the errors was the person they're delivering the pizza to, his house is right across the street from the Krusty Krab. But the error said, but in every subsequent episode, the chum bucket is across the street from the Krusty Krab. I'm just like, way to miss the point of the whole show, dude.
Right.
Or dudette.
Person.
There we go. Way to miss the whole point of rubber band logic. God. It's just like, it's a joke.
So I watched this animated YouTuber, and he does something similar. He did something similar for one of his episodes where he would have a frame of just a close-up.
Mm-hmm.
But they were really detailed and gross.
Yep.
And he would call them gross-ups, and I don't know if that's an actual term or if that's just what he calls it.
I think that's just what he calls it. I've never heard like a term for the extreme detailed still shots. There might be one.
The moment I saw that, it reminded me of that one video because he's just done it once, and he had like a different artist do it for him.
Mm-hmm.
And it just reminded me, and I had to find what it was called. But yeah, he called them gross ups, and it's hilarious. And that's what they, especially the Squidward still. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, that was great.
It was a fun and entertaining show. It was a fun and entertaining episode.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
especially SpongeBob like crying.
That's true.
That's one of my favorite gifs. It's one of my favorite crying gifs. Solid.
And you have many crying gifs.
I do, yes. I have many crying gifs, but that one's my favorite. That's like ugly crying. He was so disappointed because the whole time he's like,
so sad.
But it's for the customer. I care about the customer. And then the customer just like is mean. So mean.
This just the feels. The feels when you work in retail.
Oh my God.
You do everything you can for this one customer, and they're like, well, see, and they kick you right in the shin and walk away.
Yep. I like how Squidward is just like so done with SpongeBob, but then someone insults him and makes him cry, and then he just friggin' loses it. It's great.
Squidward's not a bad guy.
Oh no, he's not a bad guy.
Sometimes.
He's just very done with SpongeBob and his shenanigans.
He's the guy who's let cynicism take over his life.
Yeah, basically. He's like that friend who's your friend who wants to be your friend but is also begrudging like 80% of the time. But is your friend still. Is begrudgingly your friend, but he secretly likes it on the inside.
Why are you calling me out like that?
I'm not. Why
are you calling me out like that? You calling me Squidward?
No. Would you throw a pizza on someone's face because you saw me cry?
Yes. I would totally throw a pizza in somebody's face if they made you cry. I mean, I would probably miss if I, threw it from across the room.
I see.
If I was like right up with like Squidward was, then yeah, totally, I would do that. And it would probably burn them because pizzas are hot.
Yes. I mean, that one wasn't because they had been walking for hours and hours and hours.
Days.
Probably
not days, but a day.
A full day or something.
Yes.
Or I mean, they were like closing up, right?
Right.
Weren't they?
And then it was daytime again.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so they were there for a full night, basically. So you're telling me that the guy got his pizza like in the morning?
Yes, he did.
He ordered it at night and he got it in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And he was upset that he didn't have a drink.
God, what a jerk. What a jerk.
Why? People are like this. Why are people like this, James?
I don't know. They just are.
How much do you give it, James?
Oh, I really had a lot of fun watching it. Like
Yeah.
I was laughing. I had a bit of the giggles, Mariya.
You had a bit of the giggles.
I had a bit of the giggles every time SpongeBob was doing the pizza dance.
Oh, in this episode, SpongeBob's the only one with fingers.
Yeah. I mean, that's most episodes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure the squirrel has fingers, right?
Yes.
No?
Yes, she has fingers. God, that must have saved so much time.
I know. It's just like nobody else has fingers.
Yay, we don't have to animate fingers. Hooray.
Woo!
Except for on one character.
Yeah. So how many fingers do you give it, James?
I gave it 4 fingers. It was so much fun. The animation, while not like stellar, this is definitely limited animation. But what they did with it was it was all for the gag, which is what...
Yeah, and it didn't feel like there weren't any rookie mistakes.
Oh, no.
You know, like, as limited as the animation was, there wasn't rookie mistakes like Scooby-Doo had. Right. You know, it didn't feel half-assed, you know, even if they did do very basic animation, which is nice. So I would give it like a 4. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good, solid, everyone loves SpongeBob, you know. Go watch it if you haven't. Or if you're bored. Watch it.
If you have Amazon Prime, a bunch of the episodes are on there, I believe.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Now I do. Now I'm going to binge watch SpongeBob.
There's also the Nickelodeon app? ?
There's an app?
Yeah, the Cartoon Network and Nick are both trying to like launch an app thing because like they don't want to go to like Netflix. I mean, Cartoon Network's on Hulu, and there's a bunch of Nick stuff on Hulu too. But I think they really want to like hold on to their libraries. So they're trying to roll out these apps that really are not very good.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there has to be a better way to do that, right? To become just like you could always affiliate yourself with one of them, and it could be your library. You just be with, because on a long-term standpoint, that's not sustainable.
No.
Like, for every channel to be holding on to their own library, it's not sustainable.
No, we're gonna pick and choose, and what we're gonna choose is Disney.
Point. Yeah, and at some point they're gonna have to, or at least kind of like, they're gonna have to affiliate themselves with someone, whether it's with a streaming company so that they're like in a partnership with them, where, I don't know, they get a % of the viewer base or something. And so they just have their entire library on one of the streaming services. Like, they're going to have to do that. That having their own app is not sustainable.
Right. And I think what's going to happen is probably the streaming services are all going to have to lower their prices and sell the other services at a reasonable pricing model. So you've got your streaming services original content, and then you can add on the other companies where they've all like worked out a deal with each other at how like best to price it out.
Right. So like have a kind of like a packet service, right? Where like you can get base stuff for an X amount, and then if you want other items or like stuff from Cartoon Network or whatever, then you would pay a little more and add that onto your cart or whatever. Right. And that again, that would be so much more reasonable.
Right.
And so much more sustainable as a model, as compared to having to maintain your own website and application. Like it has to be cheaper than to hire someone to deal with that stuff.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they do have it now, but the pricing is just ridiculous.
Right.
At this point.
I mean, naturally, that's like, and people won't subscribe to it, right? It's so much easier for people to just have a couple streaming services, subscribe to a couple streaming services, then have to have a separate subscription for 10 different things because they want to watch those things, you know. Like, I know I saw recently there was like a streaming service for Broadway too.
For what now? Say it again.
For Broadway.
Oh my god.
I'm pretty. I saw an advertisement for it on Instagram, and there's now a streaming service for Broadway, which kind of defeats the purpose of Broadway, doesn't it?
I have various thoughts about that. I mean,
like much as I would like Broadway to be very much more accessible, it kind of defeats the purpose of Broadway if you're going to be watching it on your computer.
How are the people who pay for Broadway feeling about this? Because like the whole point of Broadway is to feel like you are engaging in a higher form of art, and my nose is pointed up because I'm snooty now.
I mean,
that is limited. That is cut off from the masses.
I mean, again, maybe it's just older Broadway that they're doing, or just maybe like I can see where that could be a lot more economical for smaller Broadway groups and companies to present their work that may not be accepted, or you know, would be too expensive to produce on an actual Broadway stage, or be bought by someone and, you know, aired, played. But so I can see that, but also Broadway goers pay a lot of money to go watch Broadways and have that elite experience of being in the theater and watching it happen. It's a little, again, it's kind of like a slippery slope, right? Like, why, what is the purpose of having Broadway being done in theater then, if anyone can just sit and watch it? It defeats the thrill and the I guess the
exclusivity?
Yeah, the exclusivity, that's the word.
Well, I mean, the same thing is happening to theaters, though. Like, the big theaters are dying. I'm sorry to break it to people, but theaters are dying.
Yeah.
What's going to happen now is Disney's going to own a chain of theaters across the world, and they're only going to play Disney movies. That is what the future is. I'm sorry.
So basically going back in time and just having... Because that's how it was before, right? Studios owned their own theaters and aired their own stuff.
Right.
So they're just regressing at that point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the entertainment industry.
They're regressing back because that's how it was before. You know, companies owned their own theaters and they would play their own stuff in those theaters, except for smaller ones that would then sort of buy package movies and you know, play those, and they would have to buy it from the you know, movie companies, studios. They would have to buy it from the studios and then air it.
Yeah, and then we had a
unless
crash.
Unless I have my history wrong.
Yeah, and then the studio system crashed and burned.
Well, I'm pretty sure there was something legal about it, but yes. Yeah. So, go watch it. Go watch SpongeBob and watch
Go
Broadway
watch.
in the theater, please. That's how it's supposed to be consumed, damn it.
I guess. I don't know. Sure, why not?
I would rather watch it. I would rather watch it in a theater than on my computer, so,
Okay. Don't really have many strong opinions on that one. I'm sorry.
What are we
Mariya.
watching next?
We're watching a big one. Mariya, we're watching a big one.
Which one?
Maybe the biggest one.
Which one?
Maybe the biggest one that we will ever watch. We're sticking with Nick,
Mm-hmm.
and we're watching Avatar.
Finally.
I know, right?
Yes. Let's do it.
We are watching maybe the best cartoon. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. Tune in next week.
Yep. How can people support us, Mariya?
You can subscribe to us on YouTube, and comment or like, or leave us reviews on Apple Podcasts.
Yep.
Or follow our social media. Or
what are our social media under?
They're all under Chaotic Silly, one word. And you could even download our podcasts from our website, which is chaoticsilly.squarespace.com. #not sponsored. And you can also, if you feel particularly generous, you can also give us $1 at patreon.com/chaoticsilly. And for $1, you get to listen to us speak for another couple hours on animated movies every month.
Yeah. It's about
Except this month. This month you don't have to pay $1.
Ringling, jingle bells. Yes, it's Christmas in July, so everything on Patreon is free. All you have to do is go to the page, and it'll be there.
It'll be
for
available.
free.
For free.
Yep, we got a bunch of stuff that we'll reveal in the ad coming up in a second. Right there. There. We haven't made it yet.
It'll be there.
It'll be there, and it'll be great. It's over there.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.